The movie begins on a cold, silent winter night. Deep in the woods, far from any town, a single house stands alone. A man, his face tight with fear, emerges from the dark trees, holding a flickering lamp. He runs inside the house, where his wife desperately pleads with him. She tells him he must take their children into the heart of the jungle and leave them there. With a heavy heart, the man leads his young son and daughter, Hansel and Gretel, into the wilderness and abandons them. The two children wait, hoping their parents will return for them. But as the cold sets in and hope fades, they decide to explore the dark forest. After wandering for a while, they stumble upon a miraculous sight. A house made entirely of gingerbread, its walls covered in glittering candies and sweets. Hungry and unaware of the danger, they enter the house. This is no ordinary home. It belongs to a cannibalistic witch who immediately takes the children hostage. She forces Gretel to be her slave and locks Hansel in a cage, fattening him up with endless candy. The witch decides it is time to cook Hansel and takes him out of the cage. But at that very moment, Gretel breaks free from her chains and grabs a knife. The witch turns and casts a fiery spell directly at Gretel, but to everyone's surprise, the magic has no effect. Gretel is unharmed. Seizing the moment, she lunges forward, stabs the witch, and with a mighty shove, throws her into her own blazing oven. This childhood trauma forged them. This brother and sister, immune to witch spells, grew up to become professional witch hunters. Years pass, and they have built a fearsome reputation. The scene now shifts to the town of Augsburg. The local sheriff, Berenger, is about to execute a beautiful young woman named Mina, accusing her of witchcraft. Just in time, Hansel and Gretel arrive, intervening to save the innocent girl. Mayor 𝗟𝗋𝗄𝗯 announces to the crowd that to protect the town from a wave of dark magic and to find the many missing children, he has hired this famous pair. Sheriff Berenger strongly disagrees with this decision, leading Gretel to break his nose with a single powerful punch. The mayor then directs the siblings to a strange cottage in the northern forest, asking them to begin their investigation there. Inside the creepy cottage, Gretel discovers a witch. A fierce fight breaks out immediately. Gretel opens fire with her crossbow, but the witch is clever. She escapes on her broomstick, flying out of the building. Hansel, a crack shot, aims carefully and shoots her out of the sky. He chases after the crashed witch, dodging her deadly spells. It is an intense back-and-forth battle. Spells fly, weapons fire, and the fight is brutal. Finally, after a hard struggle, the pair of hunters successfully kill the witch. Returning to the village, they inform the mayor about the blood moon. This celestial event is only 3 days away and occurs just once in a generation. For witches, it is a sacred night, and they believe it is the reason so many children are being kidnapped. To aid them in the treacherous woods, the mayor introduces a local outcast named Jackson, who knows the forest better than anyone. Meanwhile, the humiliated sheriff decides to take matters into his own hands. He hires a group of rough mercenaries to find the witches, hoping to make the mayor look weak and seize power for himself. As night falls during their trek through the dense jungle, the men set up camp and light a fire, laughing arrogantly about their coming victory. But their confidence is short-lived. From the darkness emerges a chilling presence, the Grand Witch Muriel. She mercilessly slaughters every one of the men, leaving only a single survivor to carry the message of her wrath. Using her dark magic, she places a terrible curse of hunger upon him before sending him back to town as a gruesome message. The moment the cursed man stumbles into the town square, his body violently explodes, scattering blood and gore everywhere. Gretel, witnessing this horrifying event, immediately recognizes the signature of a powerful witch's curse. Meanwhile, we are taken to the secret gathering of the 3 main witches. Here, their evil plan is revealed. They have been kidnapping the children because they intend to sacrifice them during the blood moon. This ritual will grant them immunity to fire, which is their greatest weakness and the weapon most often used against them. We also learn that luring the famous witch hunters, Hansel and Gretel, to Augsburg was all a part of their larger scheme, though the true reason for wanting them there remains a sinister mystery for now. The next day, Hansel has a chance encounter in the market with Mina, the woman they saved from execution. She shows a clear romantic interest in him. During this moment, we also discover a lasting consequence from his childhood captivity. When the witch force-fed him all that candy to fatten him up, it caused a permanent magical ailment. Hansel now suffers from a form of magical diabetes. To survive, he must regularly inject himself with a special medicine. If he misses a dose, he could die. Determined to get answers, Hansel and Gretel set a clever trap for one of the witches. They use a statue that emits the sound of a crying child as bait. The witch, drawn by the promise of another victim, arrives and is ambushed by the hunters. A fierce fight breaks out. Just as the witch tries to escape on her broomstick, Hansel makes a daring leap, grabbing onto the broom and hanging on for a wild ride. He and Gretel manage to overpower her in the forest and bring her back to town as their prisoner. Under their intense interrogation, the captured witch reveals a critical detail. For the ritual to work, the witches need exactly 12 children. Only one more child is left to kidnap. She also taunts them, revealing that the other 2 witches are on their way to get that final child right now. Hansel immediately rushes off to protect the last child, while Gretel stays behind to guard their dangerous prisoner. This is exactly what the witches wanted. Muriel launches a direct attack on the town, while she personally confronts Gretel. The third witch, whose name is Clara, goes after the final child. Clara successfully captures the girl and hands her over to a hulking, obedient troll named Edward to be taken away. Now free to fight, Clara turns her attention to Hansel. Their battle is brutal. Hansel manages to throw her down and beat her into unconsciousness, but she revives and gains the upper hand. As she is about to deliver a killing blow with her own weapon, Hansel desperately grabs it and stabs her directly in the eye. Bleeding and enraged, Clara tries to flee on her broomstick, but Hansel, showing his signature move once again, hangs onto the broom as she takes off. Back in town, Gretel is locked in a desperate struggle against the immensely powerful Muriel. Muriel quickly gains control of the fight, overpowering Gretel and making it seem like her end is near. But instead of killing her, Muriel reveals a shocking truth. She cannot kill Gretel because she is the final and most important ingredient for the blood moon ritual. Just then, the local tracker, Jackson, recovers and takes aim at Muriel with his weapon. Muriel throws Gretel aside and turns her fury on Jackson. In the chaos, a teenage boy named Ben, who is a huge fan of Hansel and Gretel, sees his chance. He bravely rushes in and helps the dazed Gretel escape. Muriel arrives in a fury to rescue her trapped sister witch, but she is too late. She finds her sister injured and Gretel gone, having vanished into the night. Meanwhile, Gretel wakes up in a strange place. It is the home of the town outcast Ben. As her head clears, a monumental secret is about to be revealed. While looking around Ben's collection of strange artifacts, her eyes land on a drawing. It is a picture of her mother. Ben explains that her mother was a witch, but she lived far away from the town, keeping to herself. She never confessed to her nature, but the superstitious townspeople discovered the truth and incinerated her anyway. Gretel is left reeling, unable to process this shocking information, and she storms out to find her brother. The scene shifts to Hansel, who is hanging helplessly from tree branches after his fall from the witch's broomstick. He is rescued by Mina, the woman they saved from execution. As she gently tends to his wounds, Hansel sees her kindness and finds himself growing more interested in her. At the same time, Gretel is searching the jungle for Hansel when she is suddenly ambushed by Sheriff Berenger and his remaining men. They blame the witch hunters for the chaos and attack her. But a witness observes the assault from the shadows, Edward, the troll who serves the witches. In a surprising turn, Edward smashes the heads of the sheriff and his men, saving Gretel from certain death. A confused Gretel asks him why he would save her. Edward simply states that trolls are born to serve the witches, implying that Gretel is his master. Without another word, he leaves her alone with this bewildering and frightening idea. What did he mean? Could Gretel truly be a witch herself? While searching for his sister, Hansel arrives at a dilapidated house in the woods. He enters cautiously, but Gretel is already inside, and thinking he is an enemy, attacks him. They struggle and both of them tumble down into the dark basement. Gretel finally recognizes her brother and lets him go. As they inspect the dusty, decaying house, they make a chilling discovery. The place was clearly the home of a witch, but they are even more shocked to realize it is their own childhood home, the very place they lived before their father took them into the woods. Overcome with emotion, Gretel tells Hansel the truth she learned from Ben. She believes their mother was a witch. At that very moment, Muriel appears in the doorway. She has found them. Now all the secrets are finally laid bare. Muriel reveals the whole story. She tells Hansel and Gretel that their mother, Adriana, was not an evil witch, but a good and powerful white witch. White witches are those who never misuse their powers and refuse to practice dark magic. Adriana fell in love with a human and was living a happy, hidden life. It was she who made her children immune to dark magic. Muriel explains that to complete the blood moon ritual, the witches needed the heart of a white witch. But Adriana was far too powerful for Muriel to defeat, so Muriel devised a cruel plan. She decided to take Gretel's heart instead, as Gretel had inherited her mother's power. To get Adriana out of the way, Muriel took on a human form and went to the town, telling everyone that Adriana was a witch. The townspeople, in their fear, incinerated 𝗟𝗲𝗀 and then hanged the sibling's father right beside her. Hansel is filled with a blinding rage upon hearing how his family was destroyed. He attacks Muriel, but she is too strong. She easily stabs him, and, while he is wounded and helpless, she takes Gretel with her. Later, Hansel regains consciousness to find Mina kneeling over him. She feeds him a strange healing liquid, and miraculously, his wounds begin to close. In this moment, another secret is revealed to Hansel. Mina is also a white witch, and she has been watching over them. Mina explains to Hansel that Muriel has taken Gretel to the mountains for the witches' Sabbath. This is a massive gathering where all the witches come together to perform their darkest magic under the blood moon. Knowing the battle ahead will be fierce, Mina uses Hansel's mother, 𝗟𝗲𝗀𝗀𝗲's ancient grimoire. She blesses every one of his weapons, imbuing them with a holy power that will make them deadly against the dark witches. Now, Hansel, Mina, and their friend Ben set out on a desperate mission to save Gretel and the stolen children. As they travel through the treacherous woods, Hansel sets clever traps along the path to catch any fleeing witches. He hands Ben a powerful shotgun and instructs him to hide and provide cover. Then, Hansel and Mina make their way to the heart of the mountain where the witches have gathered. At the peak, a terrifying scene unfolds. Dozens of witches have assembled for the blood moon ritual. The missing children are all held captive in cages, and Gretel is tied to a stone altar, ready for the sacrifice. As the moon turns blood red and the ceremony begins, Hansel bravely steps out into the open, revealing himself to the horde of witches to draw their attention. Just as they swarm him, Mina opens fire from her hidden position, her blessed bullets tearing through the dark creatures. In the chaos, Hansel fights his way through, freeing the captive children from their cages. Seeing her ritual falling apart, Muriel moves to kill Gretel herself. But the troll, Edward, remembering his true purpose to serve the White Witch's bloodline, turns on Muriel and breaks Gretel free. A furious fight erupts between Gretel and Muriel. As they battle, the time for the blood moon passes, and the ritual is broken. Seeing that most of her coven is dead, Muriel decides to cut her losses. She escapes on her broomstick, followed by the few witches who survived. But as they fly away, they trigger Hansel's traps in the forest, which kill the remaining followers. Muriel survives the traps, but Ben, following his orders, shoots her out of the sky, wounding her badly. When Hansel and Mina track Muriel down, they find her in the last place anyone would expect, the original gingerbread house from their childhood, now rebuilt as a sinister lair. Mina confronts Muriel, and a spectacular magical duel begins between the two witches. Mina fights with all her strength, but her white magic is no match for Muriel's raw, dark power. Muriel overwhelms her, striking Mina down with a devastating spell. Hansel rushes to Mina's side, holding his dying love in his arms. He promises her he will have revenge before she passes away. Filled with a new, burning rage, Hansel turns to fight Muriel, determined to end this once and for all. They are locked in a brutal hand-to-hand combat when Gretel, wounded but determined, arrives to join the fight. Now it is an intense, all-out battle between the sibling hunters and the Grand Witch. The fight swings back and forth, with Muriel using her immense power to gain the upper hand before the brother and sister team up to suppress her. Finally, Hansel gets Muriel under control. He wraps a heavy chain around her and is about to deliver the final blow when his body betrays him. It is time for his insulin, a consequence of the candy he was forced to eat as a child in a witch's cage. He grows terribly weak and collapses to the floor. Though badly injured herself, Gretel crawls to her brother and manages to inject him with the life-saving insulin. But in those few critical seconds, Muriel breaks free and gains the upper hand once more. It seems like all is lost, but just as Muriel moves in for the kill, a revived Hansel throws her to the ground. Together, they decapitate the evil Muriel, finally ending her reign of terror. Returning to Augsburg as heroes, they burn the witch's body in front of the entire town as a symbol of their victory. They accept the reward for saving the children, and then move on, their work not yet done. In the final scenes, we see that their team has grown. Now, Hansel, Gretel, Ben, and even their loyal troll, Edward, are a true family of monster hunters. They arrive in a desert, carrying the body of a dead witch as bait. Edward smashes down the door of a hidden cottage, and with their weapons ready, they step forward to face their next target, their legendary hunt far from over. And so concludes the legendary tale of Hansel and Gretel, Witch Hunters. On IMDb, this movie was rated by 224,000 people and has an average rating of 6.1. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like this video and subscribe to this channel for more interesting videos like this. See you in the next one.